Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben for a new episode. Well, today it's Thursday, and have I been busy down at the allotment today? I certainly have, and it was absolutely freezing when I got to the allotment this morning. It was so bitter, it was trying to rain, it was just so cold, but we got down there and we spent hours down there, absolutely loads of time down there today, getting bits and bobs done. So what have we been up to today? Well, I went to my favourite garden place where I always buy all my stuff from recently, and I have purchased 2 blueberry bushes and some seed potatoes, as I've grown blueberries for a couple of years now and they get really good blueberries on them. But I've also created this new fruit area that I'm growing all my strawberries in and my thornless blackberries and raspberries in, and I thought I need something else to add in there. So I thought, what can I get? And I know blueberries are expensive to buy from the supermarket, and I thought, why not? Yeah, they don't take much looking after, so why not purchase some blueberries? So I purchased 2 more, and I'm on the verge of tempting to buy another 2 to go in another spot, so we'll have to see if we get them. The only thing is with blueberries is that you need to plant them in ericaceous compost or ericaceous soil, and the reason is that they prefer that sort of compost to survive and to get the crops that they need. So the best tips and advice I always give for planting blueberries is to get your ericaceous compost and plant them in large tubs. Now you can get tubs quite cheap these days, these plastic ones, and make sure that they've got holes in for the drainage so that they will obviously let the water out, because you don't want them getting waterlogged or too wet and rot the roots on them. So I've planted these 2 in tubs and I've sunk them into the ground. Now the reason why I sink them into the ground is because obviously when it gets windy it will blow them over and you could damage them and lose the fruit off them. And also, if they're sunk into the ground, it's as if they're like planted really. They look part of the allotment and part of the attraction. So they're in the ground, and also they look less opportunistic, if I can say that. If they were just stood on the allotment in pots, who knows who would be walking past and they'd just come and grab them and take them away and have 3 blueberry plants for themselves. So yeah, I sink them into the ground. And I was talking to my plot neighbour today, and he knows quite a bit about gardening, and he was saying make sure you feed them with ericaceous feed, and also that you can feed them with chicken pellets manure. So I need to read up on that, because it's got the nitrogen in it, he says, and they are good for blueberries. So chicken pellets, I'll have to get some more because I've run out of them. I know they're quite cheap as well to buy, so we need to get some of those for the allotment as well, because I usually feed my rhubarb with it as well. I usually feed that at the beginning of the year, so that could do with feeding this time of year as well. And then I've bought my seed potatoes. I have purchased ones that are called Charlotte and Nicola, so 2 girls' names. I've purchased them ones, as I've grown Charlotte in the past, but I've never grown Nicola. So I thought I'd give that one a try and see how they get on. These are second earlies, so it says to harvest them around 14 to 16 weeks after you've planted them, so that should see us through summer. I will be starting these off chitting them and getting them ready for planting out. I usually plant out on Good Friday, I stick to the old wives' tale of planting on Good Friday. Yes, I know Good Friday moves every year, but it's to do with the moon, and it's an old gardener's saying to plant them on Good Friday, so that's what I've always done. I always stick to around that date, and that's when I plant them all. So I'm looking forward to getting those started. So what else have we been up to? Well, I'm currently in the process of getting all my plot cleared. I've been working from the front of the plot and working my way to the back of the plot. I've cleared round all my fruit trees, that's all done. I've cleared round my rhubarb area, they're all nice and ready for growing. They're all popping their heads through. I shared a picture on Instagram the other day of them. Gardening with Ben, if you're not following me on Instagram. So I've got all that cleared. Then I moved on to creating this new fruit area where I've been planting my strawberries. I've planted absolutely loads of spring bulbs around it as well, and I've also done my raspberries, which are summer raspberries. These are summer ones what have popped up where they shouldn't do from my neighbour's plot, so I've planted those. I've planted my thornless blackberries, which I'm looking forward to. Quite a few people were commenting on them yesterday, saying that they're not too vicious when they're growing, so we'll see how they get on. And now we're moving on to my main plot area, which will take a few weeks to get cracking on that area and get all that completed. But it's not going to be as hard as the other areas because it's quite straightforward. It's a case of getting it all cleared. I'm not digging around anything or protecting any plants or anything like that because it's where I grow everything. That only grows once a year, so I can literally go in and demolition it all and just get it all cleared and tidied and get it cracked on with, really. And they're all split up into beds where they are as well, so I usually say I'll do 4 beds today or I'll do 4 beds tomorrow or something like that. It depends how long I stay down at the plot for, and I actually stayed longer than I thought today because my plot neighbour was down, like I said, and it's always more encouraging when somebody else is down there at the side of you working on their plot. You think, oh, I'll stay down here if somebody else is down here and stay that little bit longer, and it certainly helps me get along with my plot. And hopefully by the end of February my main plot area should be cleared. That is my target, to get my main plot cleared by the end of February, and I'm well on the way to getting it done and getting on track with that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that photo of it once it is completely cleared and show you what it looked like before, because it did look a mess. It got the old sunflowers growing in it and everything, so yeah, hopefully in a couple of weeks it will look brilliant, and then I can move on to the jobs inside my shed, and it's a case of getting all new shelving up, getting all of it swept and cleared, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to give it a good lick of paint this year and spruce it up and make it look nicer, because it does need a bit of TLC and care inside it, and it needs a lot of improvements doing to it. It's been up quite a few years now, so it's looking a bit derelict inside, if you must say, but yeah, we're wanting to get them sort of jobs done. And then my polytunnel as well. I didn't use my polytunnel, like I said, last year, and hopefully this year I'm going to be growing melons, peppers, chilies, cucumbers, tomatoes, aubergines, all inside my polytunnel. So I'm looking forward to sharing all that with you from the plot, from what I'm getting up to, really. So yeah, it has been a busy 4 days down at the plot. We have certainly cracked on getting it all done. There's still so much to get done, and I'm adding lots more flowers that come back year after year. And my auntie and uncle came down today, and I was showing them my campula, what I planted, and they were saying how much it spread on their garden when they had it, and it looked fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that taking hold this year as well and starting to spread and fill up all the soil gaps and stuff like that. And I was even nearly tempted to get some more gladioli bulbs today, so I may get some more soon. I saw 2 packets for £9 and there was 15 a pack, so it'd be like 100 gladioli bulbs, and they'd look absolutely fantastic in one of the flower beds, just all gladiolis. It'd look absolutely stunning. Obviously it'd take quite a bit to hold them all up once they've all grown, because they do start to bend and sway and stuff like that. My grandma, instead of using rubber bands, she used to use her old tights and cut them into rubber bands, because they were a bit more gentle on the plants. So that's a little gardening tip there for you. Use old tights and cut them up and make your own rubber bands out of them. Not that I can be doing that because I don't wear tights, only at a weekend. But yeah, I've enjoyed talking about what I've been up to down at the allotment on these podcasts for the last few days. Obviously, like I say, I'm back at work tomorrow, so there will be pre-recorded episodes talking about different gardening tips and hints, sharing them with you. If you've not listened to my other podcast where I just talk about hints, gardening hints and tips, I talk about a different subject each episode, please do check that out. It is in the link of this description on this podcast, called Gardening and Allotment Hints and Tips. Nice and easy for you. So have a search for it. It's on every podcast channel. I didn't realise it weren't on Apple Podcasts, but it is now, so you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts as well. And obviously keep giving it ratings, keep giving these episodes star ratings and leave reviews. I do like to read them as well, and it does help it get seen. And if you've not subscribed to this, please do click that subscribe button, because it shows up on my stats and it helps it get better finding on different podcast channels as well. So yeah, click that subscribe button. Until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.